Hey people, Shamanok here. That mask thing. You know, I did a little video on Facebook about the said no mask for me, and people had asked me to do it on YouTube. I guess a lot more people are getting away from Facebook, and that's probably a good thing. So I haven't worn a mask in months, you know, and I do take the virus as I do any virus or any disease seriously, but at the same time, I'm a strong believer in the immune system. I tell people that I did get really sick, in March. I had all the symptoms of the COVID stuff. Um, I had just come back from Europe, and it was time with me, and there were some parts of it were really scary, where I thought I was really going to suffocate because I couldn't breathe when I would cough and I'm laying down. And but I've also had pneumonia twice in my life. I've always been a really active person, though. Never been a smoker. I mean, I don't drink now. I mean, my big vice is like coffee and some sugar. Sugar's a hard one to quit. So, I work a lot. So I had the pneumonia. I'm 62 years old. So I'm kind of in that high risk group, at least according to some people. Although I personally don't believe I'm in a high risk type of person. But they're like, okay, well, if you're that, then why wouldn't you wear a mask? Well, again, for the common logic of it, the common logic is if I'm not sick and I'm not going to be putting it out to somebody else, then I don't need to wear one. You wear one if you're sick. I mean, even CDC and World Health Organization said, yeah, they're even admitting that yeah, asymptomatic people cannot spread this. It's just so slim. And you're looking at a 0.0001 or 0.00001% of dying from it. That doesn't mean you may not get really ill, you know. It was still taking me a while to recover from breathing from whatever I had. By the way, too, that even though I had all the symptoms, they didn't really have the test then. But you can qualify being tested positive over the phone by answering some questions that go along with some equation. But a good friend of mine, Mary Bergman, who got her doctorals or did her doctoral thesis on immunology, she said, Hawk, there's a flu strain that acts just like the COVID stuff, has all the symptoms and everything. So maybe I did that. Now, I haven't had any vaccines. I haven't, not even tetanus, and I'm in construction and work around farms. I haven't had anything like that in like maybe 40 years. I just won't. I just won't get it. Um, Tetanus is one of those things, by the way, it's just in the ground. Horses seem to have a harder time with it than people do. I'm worried about traffic more than anything else. That scares me. So, but when it comes to the mask, you know, I'm somebody that likes complete thought. So when they're saying, "Yeah, wear this mask," well, is it a medical mask? I'm like, no. Okay. I mean, if we start getting into like a little bit of science, people are like, "Oh, trust the science." Well, the science says that it's like point so small for a micron, though it's so tiny, but yet the weave in the mask has holes in it much bigger than the virus. So it's like trying to catch a mosquito with a fishnet. I don't get that. What about like building your immune system? I still don't hear anything about that, about building your immune system, supporting your immune system. So what happens is you people, they're breathing in and out of this mask. It just sits there like some face diaper that they're not changing. You know, it's kind of like when people were always wearing the gloves. But isn't that like wearing the same condom with a bunch of different people? You get this face diaper on that you're always breathing into over and over again. I mean, even the doctors might put it on. They see somebody, they take it off. I've told people before. I went through biological warfare training school in the Marine Corps, and they taught us, if you have a biological agent, you have to take it seriously. This is what you do. But they're talking about this as some deadly agent, but they're not doing anything that I had seen in my training for biological warfare school. A friend of mine that is translating in a hospital, he puts on a full suit, you know. I mean, and he has to decontaminate when he takes that off. That suit goes someplace else. He doesn't put it back on. And he waits in an isolated area for the next person he's going to work with. Yeah. So he and I both went to the same military training, and now he's living it in civilian life as a translator in hospitals. So that's taking it seriously. But when we start looking at like you have you wear a mask as you're walking through the restaurant, and then you take it off. But then you got to put it back on when you're walking back out the restaurant. Oh, that makes perfect sense. Or let's in an airplane. Now we're going to put it on in the airplane. You know, you can kick somebody's kid and their family off because the kid doesn't wear the a mask, but everybody can take off their mask while they're eating because now everything's safe because you're eating, you're taking things and putting in your mouth and you're breathing out more, and everybody around you, because you know how you're on a plane, you're like this, right? You know? And I'm like, oh, food's gone. No, you just, you know. So he said, just wear a mask, bro. Just be a sheep, okay? Just be a fucking sheep. You know, do that. God, you know. And how long to wear the mask? No one's saying that, you know. So not only can you wear a mask that, you know, they're making kids do, yep, they're making kids wear a mask, and they're supposed to be on online school. Get that, you know? So, anyway, you know, so now all the haters are going to come on, all the ones that want to do all the bitching and whining and be good little conformists and leave comments. That's sweet. You know, people, get some complete thought. All right, get some complete thought. You say wear a mask, and right on the side of it say not to protect you against any kind of viruses. It's non-medical. Well, why are you wearing it? You know, when I do wear something on my face, it's a full respirator. All right, and I do that because I work with chemicals, and I'll put that on when I'm mixing the chemicals I work with. I work with some powders that are tiny, that are used for body fillers when I'm building the boat. You know, the fumes from these chemicals are dangerous, so it's a two-stage filter. It goes through a membrane, it's about that thick, and then it goes through a granulated filter. Now, if I really had to wear something, oh, by the way, so when I'm wearing that, all right, this is how you know if your mask works, okay? A smell is a positively charged ion, okay? Now think about that, ion, positive charged ion. That's pretty small, right? So when I take off my mask, I realize now I can smell the world. Before that, I could smell absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. So that mask is working. If you're wearing this mask and you're smelling things, okay, everything can get through. Okay, do you see the difference? When I was in the Marine Corps, I went through this thing for 90 days. I wore a full face combat mask. Now, for the guys that grew beards, you know, it would grow into the mask would grow around, not grow around, but your face would grow around the mask, and you basically had to peel it off. And we did that for 90 days. Some people just totally freaked out and caused PTSD for years on. But it was in the middle of the Cold War, and we were doing real chemical warfare training. So it's like, oh, this guy, just wear the mask, bro. You know, meh. You know, no, I'm not wearing the fucking mask. And two, I can wear a bandana around my face, and that's covered. Or the face shield. This is the one that's really good. You just have this plastic shield. I'll wear that if I'm using a table saw, or if I'm cutting metal with something, so the splinters don't come back into my face. What about all the other air around it? And people will wear this in a restaurant serving food. It's got the shield on, you know? Oh. Anyways, the complete thought part. If you want to wear the mask, wear the mask. I could give a fuck. All right? But when I go into a business and they're like, oh, well, you need your mask. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I can't wear them anymore. And they can't ask me about it. Now, look, I'm still being a responsible person. I anybody that works in a pure whiner, that's all. Okay, White Rabbit, go back down the hole. You know, if I get a little bit of a cough, I'm working around horses, ducks, chickens, dogs, sawdust, chemicals, all kinds of things. So if I get a little bit of a cough, that's kind of normal. I expect that. If I get a congestion, if I start to run a fever, I'm not going out into the public. I'm not going up into the house. I live on the others. I'm on 10 acres. I live on the lower part of 10 acres. So I'm going to isolate myself until this goes away. That's what responsible people do. All right. They haven't told anybody, these authorities. Remember now, Pelosi, she can go and not wear a mask. Fauci can be at the ball game, pictures taken of him without his mask. You know, all these other people can do this, but you and I, oh no, come back. You got to put your mask on. No, I don't have to do that. So when people, hey, put your mask on. No, I can't wear them anymore. And that's it. That's the end of the subject. Try it sometime. And if they really want to pick me up and fine me for it for whatever reason, because they say it's a law, because when I read Black's Legal Dictionary years ago, a mandate was different than a law because a mandate meant to one's own discretion. So if they said, yeah, okay, yeah, here's your court date, fine, I'll go ahead and, I'll do a court date because I know that, I don't know if I can postpone an arraignment 3 times, but I know I can postpone preliminary hearing and the real trial 3 times. And I'm going to make them pay for the lawyer and whatever else I can do. It might take 6 to 9 months to take me to trial on that. Imagine if everybody did that. Kind of clog up the system, wouldn't it? Yeah. So my point is they don't have an answer. But they want to go ahead, and now they're talking about vaccines. They want to do this vaccine thing, but in case you haven't watched it, my other videos, or you don't know this for a fact, in 1986 they passed this law saying that pharmaceutical companies can't be held liable for the damage caused by vaccines because vaccines can't be made safe. Okay, think about that. Okay, so you can't make it safe. So therefore, you can't sue the person who's making it. All right, and therefore you can't sue the person that forcefully injects you. But yet, if you get all fucked up from it, it's like, oh yeah, that's sad. Yeah, that happens sometimes. After they pass this, all of a sudden the vaccine, manufacturer went up, the schedule went up. Kids at 6 months or a year have to have 72 shots. Are you serious? Why are you doing that? So this all goes back into the mask because it's the complete thought. We've just lost this. As Americans, at least, we've just lost the virtue of complete thought, critical thinking, independence. And now, oh, get a vaccine. You're a patriot. Okay. They come out with vaccines for flu every year, and it still kills about 30-some thousand people. Oh, and let's go back to some other killers. All right, tuberculosis kills about 1 million, 1.5 million people every year. Tuberculosis. That used to be a big scare back in the 60s. We all got TB shots, or not, TB test, because it was highly contagious and airborne. Have you ever worn a mask for tuberculosis? No. Have you ever did you wear it for swine flu, bird flu? No. Why? Because the media didn't tell you to. No, what? Oh, well, we're working on it. I remember one nurse just finally got there on the bird flu and just said, fucking stop it. It's not that serious. And then another nurse did it, a doctor, and then boom, it's gone. It just went away, And that was a big scare. So they've tried this before. Did you wear a mask for that? Nope. You see, they just keep doing this, But let's look at something else. You know that old game when somebody walks up to you, taps you on the shoulder here, but they're going around? So you look this way and they went that way? Yeah. Did you guys know that a lot of subpoenas being served on the members of the old Obama administration? Mm-hmm. You notice how they're in California passing all these pedophilia laws, and it's okay. So that when that Maxwell chick comes out with more names and all this other stuff, just a thought. How about the contingent election thing? If there's enough of a problem, electoral college can't decide who's the president. Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, becomes president. Yeah, fuck. Imagine all the executive orders she'll pass. But you keep your mind on your mask. You keep your mind on who's not wearing it when you see it. Yeah, you keep your mind on that. Come on. Again, there's no end to this in sight. Doesn't that bother anybody? I'm not going to be wearing. People say, well, oh, and my conservative buddies, yeah, we're going to have to make a stand. Well, tell us when you're ready. When was way the fuck back there. Okay? Now's the time to make the stand. Now's the time. You can get stupid and annoying evil spirit out of my house. The rich, bigot, shaman, alive, blah, blah, blah. The nice thing about the haters is I get more views. The bigot shaman. You couldn't be a bigot in my family. We have everybody in my family. Just a little off the record for you. All my haters. So anyway, let's get back to something serious, okay? People, on the serious side, we're looking at a global economy, all right? Not just our country, but a global economy that's just crashing. People asked me a while back, do you think it's possible that we'll get to the point where we have a one world money or all digital currency and things like that? And a few years ago I said, no, I don't think that's really going to happen because there's too many things. One important thing would be currency exchange. How would you start to equate the currencies of the worlds to make it an easier system of a one world money system? The only thing that happened, something would have to happen where everybody's economy just went down onto the same level, crashed, the whole world. Then you could do it. Lo and behold, here we are looking at that possibility. And that, to me, that's kind of a scary thought. And the reason the scary thought was the digital stuff, and we still talking about mask here, is like a friend of mine, Orshi, she had money sent to her through PayPal, and then PayPal was like, we're kind of wondering why you got money from the States. So we're just going to hold your money. You're not going to be able to use it. All right? I've had money sent to me through PayPal. Like, oh, we're just going to hold it for a while. Oh, you didn't get it. Whatever. All right? But yet they can use your money to make money off of it. So all the censoring that's happening, okay, the censoring is another form of the mask. It's basically just shut up. So with all the censoring and tie that into the currency, like they kind of do in China, because if you don't say the right thing, do the right thing, you don't travel anywhere, you can't do stuff, because it's all digital. They just go click. We don't like you, huh? Bad sheep. So, but that's a problem. And one of the nice things about having the cash in hand, we can get around things. We can do a little bit of bartering. We can do emergency buying if cards don't work and stuff like that. So, but again, the big distraction is just put your mask on, wait for the vaccine, and all this other stuff. Because the other thing that they really have to figure out is more on the censorship, because a lot of doctors are coming out saying, no, it shouldn't be a pandemic. I don't know why they're doing this, high survival rate, blah, blah. Okay, so got to keep those people quiet. You got to work the algorithms where you just doesn't look like you're banned, but no one sees you. I guess that's what the shadow banning is. So you just get kind of censored that way. So no one really hears your difference of opinions and so on. And then keep fanning the Antifa fire to where these people who are allegedly anti-fascists, who totally act fascist, can cause more damage and more destruction and more fear and all this other stuff. And eventually, the big thing is the waiting game, because we, the people, whether just in the States or the rest of the world, We're waiting for someone else to make a decision for us. We're waiting for these people who don't have a direction to give us. We're waiting for them to give us a direction on how to move forward. Now, is that the most ridiculous thing that you've heard? I mean, think about that. We're waiting for people that have no direction to give us direction. I just don't see it, people. I just don't. I'm going to make my own direction. And in that, my own direction is I'm trusting my immune system. I'm supporting my immune system. I'm being responsible. If I feel like I'm getting sick, I won't go out into the public, you know, but I'm just not buying into this. This is the point where I stand up, and when I go into the Home Depot or Lowe's or anywhere else, yeah, it's obvious that I'm standing alone. And I'm sure all the TV cameras that are watching me, like, oh, there's a problem there. Uh-oh, one of those free thinkers. You know, just wear the mask, bro. Oh, you're whining. Yeah, whatever. Keep being a little bitch. You know, keep being a follower. You know, keep being led around by people who don't give a shit about you. You just keep doing that. Okay? Now, I've lived a full life, you know, and if in my final years I have to go ahead and just really make an example of just say, no, I'm one of those people who grew up in a generation of freedom, you know, that traveled the world, that explored, had great adventures. You know, I'm not going to let people just like make me wear a face diaper and get poisons injected into my body. This is just not going to happen. You know, I'm not telling anybody else what to do, but that's my stand on it. You know, I'll walk my talk with it, and I'll live with any consequences that come with it. You know, we do this talk about patriotism. We do this talk about freedom. You know, America's freedom and all that. I travel the world a lot. I spend usually about 6 months out of the United States. We're not as free as you think. But we can change that if we get our minds right and we start acting like free Americans. If we act like our forefathers, you know, the people who we like to talk about in our patriot um, diatribes, you know, but we don't act like it. No, it's time to act like it now. Catch you guys later.